Hello, this is Annie, and I am back for another renovation in Veronaville. And today it's gonna be the Monty Ranch with the elders and teenagers living here after, I guess Romeo and Mercutio's parents' house burned down or whatever happened. I've sort of taken a nosedive into the Shakespearean stories and also the backstories, what can be known about them ever since starting this up. And at this point, I feel like I have more questions than I had answers. And the more I start digging, the more questions I get. It's definitely not a straightforward story. And there's a lot of things that I am like coming up with, a lot of plot ideas, and then I find another detail in the stories or in the Sims memories or whatever I find, and that flips everything on its head, and I have to sort of go back to the drawing board. So it's currently a bit challenging to figure everything out, but that's part of the fun as well, of course, and that's part of the allure about Veronaville as a town, because it has so much mystery in it, and it can be interpreted in so many different ways. So it's all good fun, but definitely challenging. Similarly to how I have viewed the Cap family that I mentioned in the last episode, that I thought that Cordelia was the oldest child because she has such old children. Similarly, I always thought that Claudio was the oldest child in the Monty family. Apparently, he's the youngest, according to Patrizio's memories. And bizarrely enough, Bianca is apparently the oldest child. I know, right? Like, what? She's in the family bin, and as far as I can recall, she is like in days much younger than her brother Antonio. So I have no idea how all of that is hanging together. I'm gonna have to think about that because it's strange. Patrizio even has a memory of her aging up one step before they even had the boys, and the boys came in like one after the other, and it could be interpreted as them being twins. I'm not sure how to run with that, but what's even more strange is that Isabella has no memories whatsoever of having the children. And I'm like, wait, what? So, yeah. A lot of different ideas running through my head about that as well, of course, because if she doesn't even remember having the children, I guess she could have not been the mother of the children then. So, as you can hear, a bunch of different ideas, and I'm not sure at all what to go with yet. So, yeah. But it's really interesting and fun to learn and to take into consideration as I am finishing these renovations. So as you can see, this renovation started out with me just figuring out where the cars are gonna go, as I often do, because I want my Sims to be able to use the cars and for them to be located in a logical position. And I built a garage for these guys. I was playing around with the idea of having some sort of driveway in front of the house, but it just didn't feel right for this family. So I ended up with a garage, and I'm not sure if one of the cars might be Patricio's and Isabella's and the other one might be Claudio's, perhaps, that the boys have inherited. Besides that, I also wanted to make this lot seem a little bit more private. Of course, it's a ranch, and if you take a look at I think it might be the biography of Patrizio. It says that he has a llama ranch. So apparently there's supposed to be llamas here somewhere. Not sure how to run with that, but yeah, there you go. And I decided to keep the shape of the house. And the roof was sort of bleeding through the walls, so I decided to just make a little half wall or like 1/4 wall on top of the house to prop the roof up on so that it actually sat at a good position for it. So, but what I was getting at is that the lot is surrounded by these fields, and it's obviously like a ranch, and I guess that's part of the family business. But then there's also mentions of the family having a family restaurant. So yeah, that's something that I also have to sort of consider as I am building this up, what to actually do with the family later on. But yeah, for now, I decided to keep it looking as is, this house. It is a little bit on the smaller size. It just has 3 bedrooms. And I'm not sure how to run with that. Of course, it's a big lot, so there's plenty of space if I would like to add in more rooms later on. Well, there's 2 ways to go about that. Either I could build up, so there's a second floor on the house, or I can make another extension similarly to the one to the left on the screen here with the tower. Possibly. Yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to keep in mind. And yeah, I decided to even keep the sort of the strangeness of the roof with the sort of the short fence around it. I felt like when I changed the color of the stucco and made that more of a beige color, it all came together pretty nicely. And this is actually an idea that I have stolen from Yodely. I did take a look at her renovations in Veronaville for some inspiration. And I thought it was genius the way that she had used these balconies on the towers. Not only in this house, but also in one of the other houses, the one that looks vaguely like a church, if you know which one I mean. And yeah, I just think it's just so gorgeous. It adds that little detail to this that makes it just come together. And besides the balconies, of course, I also took some inspiration from her when it comes to the archways and things. I think the roofing as well. And yeah, I just think that this looks so great. But, of course, speaking of the archways, that's something that also has me a little bit confused about how to handle this. Because, of course, if you look at the cap side of Veronaville, it's pretty much British climate, and I'm assuming it's going to be like a bit cold with rain and snow and yeah, that kind of climate. But looking at the Monty side of Veronaville, it's sort of like Mediterranean. And yeah, this house in particular is like, yeah, it wouldn't really work in winter, would it? It would get so cold. So I'm not currently sure how to work with this. I am considering maybe adding in some sort of like walls in between some of the open archways to screen them off a bit more. And then when it becomes a colder temperature outside, to change out the archways for the matching doors instead, maybe. So that there's actually doors that you can close to keep the temperatures inside the house. So I guess that the idea would be that in the summer and like in the warmer temperature seasons, that they are sort of picking up the doors and putting them away in storage. I have no idea if that's going to work at all, but that's what my thoughts are currently. And yeah, that would take some work to make that work, but I think I prefer that to having it always be summer, because that feels like it's not going to be as fun. I already have that set up in Strangetown, that I only have summer. And well, I mean, it's nice in that neighborhood, but having two neighborhoods with the same setup seems a little bit boring to me. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do something different. And I'm changing out the windows a bit here, and I'm using the Torox set that I used in the Cap Manor house as well. But at the Cap Manor, I didn't use the shutters, and I feel like that really brought on the more Mediterranean vibes that I was looking for here. I was also attempting to keep these Maxis windows at first, but I ended up changing them out because they just felt too out of place in the end. I did end up keeping one though in Isabella and Patrizio's bedroom, but yeah, the other ones had to go. And I've also changed out the stucco color here, and at first I was hesitant to do so because the white is just so, I guess, iconic. But I feel like this actually made sense and made it feel more like what I was going for. And it was also important to work with the windows here because, well, the way that these rooms are placed and the way this house is designed, it's difficult to get light into all of the rooms. So it's important to really utilize what you have here. And I've changed out most of the different building objects here now, so I'm slowly starting to get to the furnishing here. And I'm gonna be starting with the master bedroom. But apparently I have some more grounds work to do first. I was struggling a little bit with these low fences because at first I wasn't sure which one to use, and then I was placing them down, and then I made some mistake that I apparently put some invisible fence in, so I'm gonna end up having to struggle here with being unable to place it on one tile. So I cut some of that footage out, but you can see here that for some reason I couldn't place that one down. And it turned out that I had drawn some sort of invisible fence accidentally there. But then I'm gonna have a similar issue coming down to the back of the house here, because this tile was also completely unusable. Like, I wasn't sure like what was in the way here. I even brought out the burninator to like smite whatever was on there, like the nuke box, but that didn't help either, so I still have no idea what is on that tile. But I was not allowed to put anything there, so I have to actually shorten the tile work there instead. I mean, it worked out fine. I was also playing around with the idea of changing out the Maxis tiles here, but I just feel like they suit this house so well. They're like the perfect color, and I think the texture looks good enough, so I decided to keep them in the end. And then of course there's a like a fountain or like small pond in the middle of the courtyard. And since I have that water mod, I need to have a pool tile somewhere on the lot for that to actually show up as water properly. And that made me consider like just putting in a pool on this lot, and I think that this makes so much sense. It's a wealthy family and they have the space, certainly, and it's more of a Mediterranean climate it's supposed to be anyway, and yeah, I just feel like it suits this family. A pool wouldn't really fit in on the Cap side, I don't feel like, not in most of those houses anyway. I don't think. But yeah, certainly here on the Monty side. And then of course I wanted this to be a fountain, so I ended up putting in one of those fountain heads And yeah, I just felt like that made sense rather than putting in a true fountain. And then my idea for this little, not sure what to call them, I guess these boxes in front of the roofs made me think of like planting boxes. And yeah, I wanted to have some nice color coming in here as well, with a lot of beautiful flowers. So I ended up putting in these vines that are going to climb down over these, the walls and down over these beautiful archways. And yeah, for some of them, they had like one position when I took them out of the catalog. But then as soon as I tried to shift them, they sort of jumped up a bit, so they were too high. So I ended up having to put them on OMSPs in order to be able to actually position them correctly. But I just feel like they look very beautiful. And yeah, for sure, if you look at more Mediterranean buildings, they're covered in flowers like this often. And yeah, I just think it's so beautiful. And it also brings in a more of a romantic vibe, I feel like, which really suits the Romeo and Juliet story, of course. But that's not going to be the only story that the Monty family is taking inspiration from, of course. I was recommended on the previous video to take a look at some reenactments and some movies from the Shakespearean plays, not just reading the plays. So I actually went ahead and watched one of the reenactments of Much Ado About Nothing. And learned quite a bit about that story, of course, and some of the characters who are prominent in the Monty family. So, for example, we have Hero and Claudio in that story. Trying to think if there was anyone else. Oh yeah, of course, Beatrice and Benedict as well. And of course, they are lovers in that story, not siblings, but yeah, there you go. And yeah, they have a sort of hate-love relationship. Well, at first they hate each other and then they fall in love by being tricked into it, basically. So my thoughts around Benedict and Bianca at the moment, no, not Bianca, Beatrice, is that they should probably sort of grow to hate each other or like have a rivalry relationship as children, teenagers, and possibly young adults, but that they should grow closer later on in life, perhaps. Not sure how to work with that, but that's my current idea for them. But when it comes to Hero and Claudio, of course, things are far more complicated. Because in this story, like in Veronaville, we have Hero who is married to Antonio, Claudio's brother. And then, of course, Claudio is married to Olivia. And, well, if you just look at Much Ado About Nothing, that really doesn't make much sense. So my current thoughts on that is that I think that Claudio and Hero were probably secret lovers. And that has something to do with what happened and what resulted in, their deaths. Not sure exactly how to go about that. I've also considered maybe making Hero having faked her own death and being alive somewhere under a new identity. Not sure if I'm gonna go with that yet or not. I did take a look at the available townies and available NPCs, but there are there's no one that I can find that has her same face template and that looks like her with, well, the skin color and eye color and so on. So I don't currently have a sim who could double for her, you know. But yeah, it's something that I'm I'm trying to figure out, possibly to add in. Not sure how to do it though. And then, if we take a look at Olivia, she is like part of a story where there are secret identities as well. That we have a sister and a brother, like twins. I think one of them was named Viola and the other one was not, I can't remember. But that, it might have been Sebastian, actually. Yeah, but that Viola is dressing up as her brother and Olivia falls in love with her, thinking that she's a man. So I'm also considering that maybe Olivia was secretly in love with Hero as well. And that there's some jealousy drama having gone on here. Not sure. But yeah, I mean, that would all really fit in with the Shakespearean story for Anthony as well, because as far as I've understood it, there are 2 Anthony characters in the Shakespearean stories, and both of them end up without love. Like they have unrequited love, I think, at least one of them. And that would all make sense then if Antonio was in love with Hero, Hero was in love with Claudio, Claudio was in love with Hero, and Olivia was in love with Hero. I don't know. Something like that probably is what I'm gonna go with. But yeah, there's a lot of different threads that I can pull to pull this together. Not sure. There are so many possibilities, and that's actually really fun when building up this story for myself. That there are so many different directions that I could go with, and all of them are valid, you know? But then, of course, I need to figure out what to do about Bianca as well. Because if she's gonna be the oldest child, then what's her part in all of this? And while the Cap family appears to be matrilineal, it doesn't seem like the Monty clan is. I don't think. And it's also a nice difference between them, I guess, that they are running in different ways. So even though she's the oldest child, I guess Bianca wouldn't be the one to inherit. But I guess that could be like one of her struggles, that she would really like to be the heiress. And maybe she's had some part of this. There's also the fact that Bianca is apparently friends with Kent Cap, and I need to riddle that out as well. Like, how is that connection working, really? And I mean, he is also like in the Cap clan. If the Caps were following a patrilineal sort of inheritance, then Kent would be the next heir, and of course he's not, so I guess they could have that in common, maybe. And while taking a look at the different memories that the Sims have, I sort of did a double take, because I did take a look at Isabella's memories, and she has no memories at all of giving birth to her children. So I don't know what that's all about, but it makes me wonder if she is actually their mother, or maybe she's not. I think that Isabella was part of some play, don't remember which one, but that there was some sort of trickery going on with her tricking a man who desired her to sleep with her, but that she traded places with someone else. And she didn't end up sleeping with him. It was actually the other woman. And that's sort of also running through my head, like would something similar have happened here? But then again, we also have this Monty family with Patrizio and Isabella who have stuck together and were even sleeping in the same bed, you know? So there doesn't seem to be any strife between them. But of course, it could be that Isabella is... that she can't have children, that she's infertile. Maybe. But then again, if I would go with that, who would be the actual mother? Yeah, I'm not sure. But it could be interesting for sure. And then of course, there's the spurned love of Patrizio, who fell in love with Contessa, of course, and that whole thing. So I'm not sure exactly. I mean, his memories does say that he fell in love with Isabella, I think. So I guess there would be genuine feelings there. But of course, that could also be something that complicates things. There's very many different ways that I could go with this, for sure. Okay, so while I've been rambling about that, I've also been furnishing the different rooms, and I try to keep it according to style. Feel more like furniture that you would find in, I guess, a Mediterranean home. Like I've been to holidays at sort of Spanish style buildings, I guess. And they've had these kinds of walls and chairs, and I guess I was going for more of a vacation vibe then in some of the rooms. But the kitchen was pretty important because, of course, the Montes are known for, well, the family restaurant then, I guess, but also Isabella's cooking is apparently something that's very prominent in the family. So she needed to have a big, nice kitchen here, plenty of space to work with, and good appliances. So whereas I went for a very, aged and historic style for the Cap family, I really focused on trying to keep things looking, for sure, aged, but also with a lot of modern things added in. It's really, well maintained, and it feels more like the Monty building has moved with the times, more perhaps than what has happened at the Cap side of things. And I added in some extra counter space here, and took the opportunity to add in some more colorful flowers. I changed my mind a couple of times on what kind of flowers to put in here, but I just feel like greenery coupled with like wood and the stucco walls is just so gorgeous for some reason. Those three things go together so well. So there's a lot of things running through my head surrounding like who will inherit this ranch, because I'm guessing that what happened was that Romeo and Mercutio were living in another house together with their parents, similarly to how things were probably for the Cap. It's siblings who are now living with consort. And that, their house burned down. That's what I'm guessing, that there were house fires. Because, all of the deceased Caps, they died by fire, as far as I've understood it. And, well, if I'm going with the patrilineal thing, then next in line would be Antonio then. taking over from Patricio. And I guess that, well, it's a little bit complicated because, as I said, when I look at Patricio's memories, I saw that he had the memories of Claudio and Antonio being born like right next to each other, and that could mean that they were twins. So it is possible that Claudio was actually selected as the heir. Even like, since they're twins, it could be either or. So it is possible that then it would be Mercutio who is the heir. But then there's also, like, I think it says somewhere that Romeo is the golden child of the Monty clan. It doesn't really say, as far as I've been able to see at least anywhere, that he's the heir. But I'm not sure how to interpret a golden child in this case. But I mean, logically, it could be either that the next in line is Antonio or Mercutio, or if they have sort of selected a favorite golden child, that it would be Romeo. Well, for now, the boys are gonna live here with their grandparents, of course, and I do think that Patricio is gonna pass away very soon, but that Isabella is gonna live for a while longer. That's as far as I remember it. And then, of course, once Patricio dies, the next in line would take over. And that would mean, well, in this case, I guess mostly who will take over the family business. And it does make sense that it is Antonio, because he is employed in the culinary career and he has quite a high position. And of course, Mercutio and Romeo, they're just teenagers right now, and potentially when Patricio passes away, Mercutio will be a young adult, but he's still going to have to go through college several years before he is even a legal adult. And then, of course, he's going to be very fresh, so he won't have any experience. So, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Antonio would be the heir. He could just sort of be a governor, or what it's called, like when you're holding a position while someone is coming of age. So that could work as well. Right, and here I'm going ahead and furnishing the boys' bedrooms, and yeah, I'm keeping it fairly simple. I'm giving them single beds still, and yeah, I think that I'm gonna just keep both of them living here even if they become young adults. So it's possible that I'm gonna change out at least Mercutio's bed fairly soon into a double bed, if I can, that is, because I think that these rooms are fairly slim. So I'm not sure if that is possible or not. It's possible that maybe I can like sneakily squeeze his bed frame into a wall and make it work somehow. I'm gonna have to see. Otherwise, I guess he's gonna have to utilize his car if he wants to. Woohoo! But of course, that's also possible that's gonna work, so he's gonna find a way anyway. So Mercutio actually has, I think, possibly 2 love interests when you start. I'm not sure if it's both Hermia and Miranda or if it's just one of them. But interestingly enough, he has 2 love interests than in the cat family. But that's not really mentioned anywhere before you actually sit down to start playing. So I guess that's kept secret, whereas the Romeo and Juliet situation is known, because that's like all over the place. Like it's everything like defining about the neighborhood, it feels like. So I'm not sure how to go about that. And now that I'm gonna involve the townies, of course, a lot of other opportunities are opening up, because I just feel like, well, making too many connections between the Cap family and the Monty family takes away from the controversy of Romeo and Juliet's romance, you know? I feel like if everyone is doing it, then it's not really having much impact, you know? There's also the Kent and Bianca situation, and I feel like I'm gonna keep them strictly friends. I think that I read somewhere also that Kent is one of the pre-made Sims who starts with a slight preference to male Sims, so it might be that he is gay actually. So yeah, that's another thing that I haven't really thought about, because normally when I sit down to start a neighborhood, I randomize everyone's sexual preferences, but this feels like it might be slightly canon, even though if we take a look at some of the biographies, I mean, reading Bianca's story, like the one that you have in Neighborhood View, it really makes it sound like she has a love interest in Kent. But yeah, it's something to think about at least. So the tiny room in this house that was like a little living room space with just a TV, a sofa and a gaming station, I actually changed out into an office, because I felt like an office makes much more sense with that size of room. And then I'm gonna utilize like a third bathroom that I didn't really feel was necessary to the left side of the room I'm working on now as a living room. I just combined two rooms, like the extra bathroom and then a room that wasn't really used for anything. And this room that used to be where the urns were located, I just turned into this sort of hallway. I just felt like it made sense. This is a potential place where I might be able to extend the house backwards if necessary, that I could make this hallway move backwards, like make one of those extensions that you have for Isabella and Patricio's bedroom, that sort of bleeds out into potentially another tower or something at the back. It could be interesting as far as design goes. And this room I started to renovate to be very modern, but then it just didn't feel right, so I went back to this sort of curtains instead. And yeah, I think that this room is the most modern in this house, at least. And I guess it comes a lot from the electronics, but yeah. I felt like this kind of room where you actually have a good big space to sit down and some music and yeah, everything just made more sense than just cramming it all together in a 3x3 room that it was from the start. And I guess this could also be a good room for the boys to use if they want to host a party sometime. I mean, one of the things that says in Mercutio's biography, I think it is that he's sort of the, I think it says like he's the joker of the family. And he is a popularity sim as well. So I could definitely see him wanting to, well, have lots of parties and have lots of friends, even if he has enemies as well, of course, like Tybalt. For example. But yeah, that's for sure also going to be a lot easier with including the townies as well. And some good peers for him, some good friends. And yeah, here I'm putting in the cars, as I mentioned, and I think for now these are just mainly gonna sit in here until Mercutio and Romeo are old enough to use them. Because of course Patrizio and Isabella, they're both retired, so they don't really need to use this for much. I guess if they're going out to some community lot at some point, I can use them. Now it's time to put in all the lights. And I went with these, I think they're base game lights. Lots of them, these wall lights, and this is just a recolor of the ceiling lamp as well. But I feel like they shed such a nice, soft and warm light that I really enjoy. So yeah, I wanted to have them throughout. And similarly to the Cap Manor, I used quite few ceiling lights here as well. There's something about the way that wall lights shed light in the rooms that's just nice, I guess. It feels more homey, less sterile and modern. And then the boys had more bright lights here in their rooms. And I also enjoyed putting in lights like in different parts of the garden to shed some light around the area and light up the flowers and everything. And that was something that was actually here from the start. There were lights already on these short fences up on the roof and everything. So yeah, I wanted to maintain that vibe. And speaking of the garden, I was actually considering if I should change out the palm trees to something else, because I do have custom content palm trees that I could have used, or of course some other kind of tree, but I felt like they really suited this lot for some reason. And taking a look at this lot from neighborhood view as well, these palm trees look like exactly the same as the ones that you can find in the neighborhood deco. So it's gonna really blend together much better, I guess, with the whole neighborhood. Now I'm just doing some finishing touches with the electronics, and I'm also taking a look here at the ceilings, because that was something that I actually forgot to put in the video in the Cap Mansion, but I went ahead and put in ceilings there as well. And it really adds a lot to not have that very, very modern, like white popcorn type ceiling that you see normally. So I went with the same sort of, I guess, poured ceiling that I have here on the roof details. And this is the finished house. And I just feel like it turned out really, really gorgeous. I love all of the different flowers. It really gave the vision that I was going for, but it still maintained the core of what it looked like from the start. I didn't really change any of the structure here. I built the garage, of course, and I changed out some of the layouts of the rooms, but the size and everything of the house is still very much the same. So yeah, it was fun. But then again, as I mentioned, I have to keep thinking about how to do this with the climate and what to do about these open doors. So it might be that I add in a few extra walls here and there to make that all work. Yeah, so that's actually 2 houses down, 2 of the bigger ones. It was really fun to do this. I hope you enjoyed how it turned out. Thank you so much for watching this, and have a great rest of your day. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.